Alright, so this is my first video ever on YouTube. Called the Aquatic Encyclopedia because I want to do like species profiles on stuff, but like just microfauna, shrimp, snails, fish, all of it. But never got around to that, and I don't know if I will or not. You got my dog here helping out. Say hi, King. But anyways, so I have, buckets. This is why you try and keep it clean. But anyways, I have, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and a 2.5 gallon over there. And I have a 55 going right there. But this is basically documenting where I'm at right now, and slowly over the next few months, probably, I'm gonna be working on getting all these aquariums from, their current condition, and slowly going back and rescaping each one and making it actually look hopefully semi-decent. So this is just more so for me personally to document it. I don't know if anyone's gonna be watching these or not. But anyways, this one, is the first one is a 10 gallon. It's got some Anubias Nana Petite in there. You got whatever the stem plant is that I bought at a store around here. Plenty of duckweed covering the top. You got this stringy algae, which I honestly don't really like that much. I kind of like keeping, I want to keep it, so I have some still on hand if I ever find a use for it that I want to do. But I don't know, to me it kind of grows in an ugly pattern. And then you also got some Vallisneria in here. Not sure what type or variant. It was supposed to be jungle val, but it also doesn't, I've seen it grow better than this before, where it's a little bit longer and kind of starting to come over the tops of the aquariums, but definitely, I don't know. I feel like from what I know about jungle val, it gets way longer than that. So if you have any idea what this type of val might be, let me know. Now on to this 5 gallon. We got one little red cherry shrimp right here. You got the Bucephalandra crypt windetta red. Yeah, you can. Alright, anyways. But you got that in here. You did have some Sylvester somewhere in here, but it might, oh, there's some right there actually. Shit, I need to be looking at the camera. Anyways, then you also got some Anubias Nana in here. You got some Bucephalandra right there, and then that same stringy moss, which, like I said, is taking over everywhere. And then there's also this little stem plant back here as well. So, but anyways, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with either of these. I kind of want to just leave this how it is, honestly, and maybe try and breed some white cloud mountain minnows in there, but I have to go get some more because I don't have any females right now, and I only got 3 males. And then I also want to get cherry shrimp and populate this, and those are kind of my main 2 plans. And then there's one other plan, but I'll get to that here in a second. Over on this one, this is a 40 gallon breeder, which that's a 5 gallon by the way over there, but it's a 40 gallon breeder. I am planning on hopefully putting multi-shell dwellers in here. That's why I got all these shells in here. I set it up already to be a Maltese tank, but that was right before I went to college, and then kind of really haven't had time to do anything, and got rid of pretty much all my fish except for these 3 white clouds down here, which they just snuck by. I just was like, whatever, I'll keep feeding you guys. But I also got plenty of Malaysian trumpet snails, and ram's horn and bladder snails and pond snails. I actually don't find that these pond snails eat any of the plants. Now that is one thing where there's hundreds of species of pond and bladder snails that I'm sure that there's some that do eat plants and some that don't, and I feel like that's probably a big reason why you get these differing accounts on them online. But then I got this other 40 gallon down here. Now this is where the white clouds are. You can see there's golden white clouds at least. There's 3 in there. There's those 2 and that one over there, which is a little smaller. But yeah, this is completely devoured by algae. There was at one time a nice giant, at least softball size, if not bigger, clump of subaltern. I kind of hope at least some of that's still alive in there. And then there was also some decent amount of Java moss. But this has got that stem plant. That's that other one that's in the 5-gallon over there. And then you got the Vallisneria right here. But overall, not necessarily too much happening. There's a whole bunch of driftwood under here too. That's all covered up by the algae. So another project. And also in all of these, sadly, you do have duckweed, which that's one thing that I'm gonna try to eradicate. In here, now this one I don't have a timer for. The past 4 I did have timers for, but this one just stays on all the time right now. So that's one of my first things to do is get a timer for it. But it's got this other stem plant in it that I honestly really like. Don't know what it is, just got this whole tank actually for free from someone, and that plant was just in there. So thankfully I got that. There's a little bit of Sawasartane right down here. And then there's plenty of duckweed up top. I thought, yeah, there's some of that stem plant right back there in the back that's in that 40-gallon. Obviously not doing as good without, you know, a nice bright light and some more fertilizer and work. But anyways, and this is also a fake decoration, which I don't like that much. In this 10-gallon, we got some of that same stuff over there. There's a nice piece of driftwood here that's covered up right now, but it was originally covered up by some Sawasartane and then also some Cameroon moss down here. You got another cryptocorn and the Vallisneria. This one needs some work. You see this little thing right here? It's kind of hard, it's kind of distorted. Right there's that little spherical ball. That, believe it or not, is a cyanobacteria, I believe. I need to look under a microscope, but I collect like jars of pond water, if I'm being honest, trying to find like new organisms, which I'll go over those at another date. But these started like just appearing in this one jar, and so I took some out and put one in here and one in another aquarium, and I'm hoping that they'll replicate. I think these, because these kind of like blobs were almost in that other aquarium or the jar, and then like they like turned into the balls, I'm pretty sure. So I'm hoping that those will become them. I don't know. I think that, you know, in this stage they obviously aren't that flattering. But I feel like the balls are pretty cool, and especially where like they don't seem to, you know, like encompass things really or like be detrimental. Well, that's actually kind of what I'm testing in this one, see if they are detrimental or not. Because if not, I mean, like, I don't know, they look funky, and I like that. That's all I gotta say about them. I want like just a giant, like, not in like all my aquariums obviously, but like in one aquarium, the entire bottom, I just want the entire substrate to just be those balls. That would be cool to me. I'd be like, look at this thing, this is funky. And they're gonna be like, what is that? So I don't know, that appeals to me. But anyways, and then we got this one. This one used to be filled with shrimp, and now we are down to 3 lone survivors. I will say I do feel bad. That is 100% my fault. This one, I should have gave those shrimp away or sold those shrimp. But this is why I hated college. But anyways, this one's clearly taken over by duckweed. You got the stem plants. There used to be some nice Java moss in here, not so much anymore. There is still some Sawasartane hanging out and left alive. But yeah, and then you got that stringy moss, which is almost in like every tank, and I'm, again, not a big fan of it. This one I just moved here. There is some crypts in there and some Vallisneria, but not much else, and I'm gonna be cleaning this tank out tomorrow so I can paint the background on it. And then right here, like I said, there's going to be a 55-gallon tank. I got the stand outside, the tank sitting in my car. Probably gonna try and reinforce that stand a little bit with some plywood or 2x4s or something. And then there's my jars. We're not gonna go through those. Here's a 2.5 gallon, just has algae in it, and one of those like cyanobacteria balls. But yeah, besides that, I mean, there's more jars with experiments in them. And then, oh, I almost forgot these two over here. And then you got these two, which this one was kind of an experiment to see like how they do without light. The Anubias Nana Petite did pretty decent, and this Wassertain is still alive. I mean, not decent, like, and obviously, you know, it's pretty much empty of water. There's still like 2 inches in there, but I mean, there's nothing like living in there, so it's fine, except for maybe some snails that hitchhiked along. And this is just driftwood that I collected that needs to still get waterlogged, and I'm also just waiting to find kind of like where I'd like it to be. Probably gonna be filling this up with water just so I can use this as a thing to waterlog those, all of that. So that's it for now. Like I said, I'll be kind of doing videos as I go and make all of these better. Probably gonna start with this one because this one like needs the least amount of work, because all I'm gonna be doing is removing the algae, and then I mean that's pretty much it. And then I'm pretty much done with that. I mean, I probably need to work on the water parameters a little bit, and again, I do kind of want to try and add some more plants if I can, but I need to do some more research and see. That Anubias Nana Petite back there has started to grow, but you can see it's growing really slowly. I mean, this has been here in here for like 3 years now, so we'll see. I've tried putting different stuff in here. I've probably tried putting Java fern, Java moss, Vallisneria. It just doesn't seem to want to grow, so I think part of that might be the sand, but I'll keep on trying. Keep on experimenting. That's what it's all about, right? Well, anyways, that's pretty much it for me. I hope you guys have a good night, and I'll be back with another video probably in a week.